And so every step of the way, oddly, it's been a fulfillment of my own, I guess, ego and pride. And it's continued that until just about, I'd say, God's been working on me, but I'd say really just in the last few years, it's really been a full cleansing of, hey, it's not all about me. It doesn't matter about me. I want to be used for a light. I want to inspire a lot of people. I want to help them, but also I can only do so much. I'm going to do my best and let God do the rest.
Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by my man, Audley Stephenson, the Odd Man.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, where our goal is to empower you to live your best audacious life ever and live that with boldness and authenticity. Each week we dive into inspiring stories that are insightful and conversations that are transformative. And then we encourage you to embrace boldness, take risks, and engage in courageous interactions. It's always a pleasure to be here, and I truly appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us. Now imagine your life as a grand tapestry. Each thread represents the experience you've encountered, from childhood memories that shaped your self-worth to the pivotal moments that have prompted you to seek change. Some threads may be rough and frayed, while others are vibrant and strong, but together they create a unique pattern that tells your story. Now, just as a tapestry requires a balance of colors and textures, so too does your life require boundaries to maintain harmony between work, family, and spiritual growth. Today's guest embodies this balance beautifully and will inspire you to weave your own audacious story. Today, we welcome Jason Heinritz. He's a dynamic leader in the direct sales industry and a passionate advocate for personal and spiritual growth and development. With over 20 years of experience, Jason has risen to the top of his field, earning accolades while simultaneously navigating the complexities of family life and faith. He is the author of the upcoming book, Wake Up, Jesus People, where he encourages readers to embrace their faith and find purpose in their daily lives. Jason's mission is to inspire others to live boldly and authentically, recognizing that true fulfillment comes from serving a greater purpose. Now, Jason, he and his story is particularly relevant to our conversation today as he shares his personal journey of overcoming adversity and redefining success. His insights on childhood experiences, pivotal moments of transformation, and the essential role of faith and the boundaries in achieving work-life balance will resonate deeply with anyone who's seeking to live their most audacious life. So now that we've got the table set, let's turn our conversation over to Jason. Enjoy. Hey, Jason, thank you for joining me here today on the Audacious Living Podcast. I certainly appreciate you taking the time to be here. It's fantastic. And thanks for being here, man. This is great.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, I think I always talk about the opportunity to engage in dialogues or conversations that can help individuals, get to that best audacious life I think it's a blessing to be a part of, and I appreciate. Even if you think about for a moment, there's a potential for someone to, I will say, eavesdrop on our conversation and be able to take something that they can apply in their own lives to get them to a better place is just exciting. And so I'm real glad to be a part of that. So thank you for helping fulfill my mission here by doing
My pleasure.
One of the important aspects of this podcast we oftentimes talk about is the individual journey that we're all on, right? Like, we're all on it's our own individualized path, our journeys with our own distinct set of, obstacles, challenges, pitfalls, what have you. And again, Jason, because it's so individualized, whatever you got going on yours is yours, and whatever Sally's got going on hers, and we're not all going to be the same, but we can certainly take from one another and learn from one another. And and use that to sort of get ourselves in a better place. And the piece that really gets me excited is that on the other side of adversity is kind of where all the greatness lies. And so, you've got a book coming out, waking people up for Jesus, and really
Yep.
wanting people to understand, the power
Mhm.
and the benefits and sort of the audacious life that awaits them on the other side. And so maybe as a starting point, I can get you to introduce yourself to our audience and sort of talk a
Mhm.
little about the work that you've done at this point and what got you to the point that you're at now.
Sure. Yeah. So born and raised in Wisconsin. Let's see. I still start with after college or in college, I started with a direct sales company, Cutco Cutlery, and been there for about 21 years now. Done very well in the Hall of Fame, moved on up, and now I run a lot of Wisconsin. And so been loving that, learned a lot through that, and that's been a really cool opportunity. I am married. I have two kids, a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, both boys right now. We got, we got a lot of good things happening. We got a book coming out. So that's coming out soon. Wake Up Jesus People. There's a journal out with it right now, currently. There's also a 40 Forge challenge, it's called, with it, that we can get into as well. And then currently my wife and I are really involved in our church up here. And we're our young adults ministry leaders up here. And yeah, there's some more stuff, but that's where I'll stop.
Yeah. So what? I guess maybe it might love to hear. So what's fueled your work or fueled you to even the book? Like where'd that
Sure.
start for you?
Sure. I would say let's go back. I was wondering where to start with my introduction, but let's start way back now. So my whole life, I feel like I haven't been enough. I feel like I've had to earn it. I felt like I've had to have recent accolades in order to be liked and loved. And so in middle school, I was teased. I was called a church boy and Walmart boy. My parents couldn't afford good clothes for us, and I had to work for everything. My upbringing was great, very blessed, but I had nothing given to me. So being bullied in 7th and 8th grade, and then starting to hit puberty and get good at sports and be liked, and then having a job or to actually buy name brand clothes. I
Mhm.
felt cool. I felt liked. I felt loved. And I ended up doing pretty well in high school and sports. Ended up being the team captain of football and track. And I just loved the fame, if you will, and all the attention, going from being bullied and nobody to
Right.
like team captain and stud, essentially. And so I found all my worth in really accolades. And so Cutco really fulfilled that, which drove me as well to be the best I could. And I just felt, if I'm going to do something, why wouldn't I want to be the best I can be in it? Let my God-given potential do its thing, but also know like there is a lid on that to my own potential, but see what's possible. And so then in Cutco, same thing, rose up in the ranks, was a top rep and an top college student in North America, and then Hall of Famer as a manager. And so every step of the way, oddly, it's been a fulfillment of my own, I guess, ego and pride, and it's continued that until just about, I'd say, God's been working on me, but I'd say really just in the last few years, it's really been a full cleansing of, hey, it's not all about me. It doesn't matter about me. I want to be used for a light. I want
Okay.
to inspire a lot of people. I want to help them, but also I can only do so much. I'm going to do my best and let God do the rest.
Sure.
So I've had a lot of challenges and things that helped, help me grow. I've had some other adversity moments too that we can get into, but I'd say overall that's the drive. It's being bullied when I was young, and then now wanting to fulfill that. And I still want to be my best, but now it's for a greater purpose and not just my own accolades. Something I always say now is that, I want to, I was going for 2 decades to build Jason's kingdom, and now I'm working on building his kingdom.
Got you. And so that's that greater purpose that you speak of.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. Within that, was there a sort of pivotal moment that sparked this from like me, and what I want and personal ambition to that greater purpose?
Yeah, there were a few moments leading up to the big moment, I'd say, but there was just a moment, I'd say probably 3 or 4 years ago, where I was just caught in this rut. I was sick of it. Every year it was, this is going to be the year of breakthrough of income or accolades or status. And I'd hit a good level of income. I've hit a good level in my company, but it wasn't fulfilling. It was actually more stressful. And because I was trying to, work was my number one priority, and it was flipped, right? It should have been, for me, it should be God, and then me and my wife and kids, spiritual or personal family, and then like work should really be like 10th, right? But it was number one in my life, and my happiness and my fulfillment was all riding on the week-to-week sales week or the week-to-week promotions. And after a couple of weeks, it wore off, and I had to re-earn it. And so after 2 decades of that, I would say I was in a point a few years ago where I was basically numbing myself. I was having a few drinks a night or having a weed gummy pretty much on a 5 to 6 night week basis, justifying that I need to chill. I need to relax. I need to not be focused on work. So my brain just kept thinking, how can I get better? There's always things to do. So that was just such a cleansing. I had a friend from church challenge me to stop that because I was justifying it. Like I wasn't getting blazed up. I wasn't getting drunk, but I was numbing myself a little bit. And from that conversation and my wife really challenging me and saying, what are you doing? It really caused me to take a look at, why am I in this place that I feel the need to like numb myself most nights to relax? And so that was kind of a wake up moment when I stopped that, and then worked on some other stuff with the book and the journal and the discipleship group and 40 Forge challenge.
And when you ask yourself that question, why, did you get an answer, or was there no answer available, which is why the change was made?
I would say, yeah, I tried a lot of things. And it just wasn't working. So I had to rely on God. For me, faith is very important. And so I had to actually get my priorities straight of actually seeking him first, and then making family a priority. And these things I said were a priority, but when you look at my schedule, my mind, it definitely wasn't. And so I had to get those all in order, and just the peace and joy that came from that. And then now it's funny how when I've done that, how things just happen, and you can see every step of the way how it's all working out. So that's been, that's been a big transition for me.
An interesting thing is when you're serious, stop and kind of look back, and you sort of see how all the pieces fit, and almost like they needed to go the way they did to get you where you are. And that's really what it is. Like life, that's that journey of life that we get to. Was there any sort of revelations in your past that you saw that you thought, oh, okay?
Yeah, there's a lot throughout the way. I would say, obviously when it comes to what I talked about with doing my best, and when you work hard, good things are going to happen, right? But when you're working hard for the wrong reasons, it's not going to be a fulfilling situation. And if I'm trying to get accolades and earn money and work hard for my own pride and my own ego, it's not lasting. And it's going to be, a very short-term pleasure mindset. I had a very short-term pleasure mindset going into my 20s and 30s. And so being able to transition that to having more of a long-lasting joy of choices was going to really help. And that's really helped, over the last 5 years or so.
And so just to clarify, you're not in the corporate space anymore. You've left that. Is that?
I'm still in it. But it's not my life anymore. It's just what I do. I do feel God has me here for a reason. I can influence and teach hundreds of people on a yearly basis, but it's just a total switch of it's my life to it's actually just a job now.
So I'm curious then, how have those experiences, your career sort of translate to kind of your spiritual growth overall?
Sure. Yeah, I would say I'll talk about the last few years. It's been cleansing. It's been great that I haven't been trying to strive for my own ambitions, and it's funny how that works. And now we're having one of the best years we've ever had right now, because I've released a lot of control. I've released a lot of stress, a lot of worry. I'm not checking my business numbers like every hour. I'm aware of them, but when I'm checked out, I'm checked out. So I've established boundaries now. So just between 8:30 and 4:30 is when I work. And so my boys get dropped off by 8:15ish. We have to pick them up around 5. So it's these nice boundaries that my wife likes, that I pick them up and take them to school, but also it allows me to set boundaries that, hey, sorry, I can't do anything until 8:30 a.m., nothing scheduled. And then I got to be done by 4:30, 4:45 before I got to go pick them up. And so it allows me to have those boundaries and barriers. So I'm not, carrying over into the night with dinner and family, or, the weekends with the family, or Sunday Sabbaths and that. So that's been really helpful for sure. And it's helped me enjoy my position more. It's helped me thrive more. It's forced me to delegate more and also release more control. And it's forced me to just level up in my leadership instead of, in my 20s, it's a young company. It's a lot of fun. In my 20s, it was driving it. I loved it. I was in the office 12 hours a day. It was amazing. But as I grew older and then I got married and had 2 kids, I couldn't lead from the front anymore of just, all right, follow me. We're going to be grinding it out. It's no, I have these boundaries. So how do I put those people in place and put those pieces in place so that the business still runs, we're still successful, and I'm not always in it?
Gotcha. I mean, listening to some of the responsibilities they have, your days must be like hectic. I mean, just go in terms of, but because you're literally wearing different hats, and so having that like I would imagine that you had to fight to maintain those boundaries to keep them separate.
Oh, I still do. I have all the alarms. I have alarms on my phone. I have different apps and things to help. I have, my family knows, and my people know. I definitely get some resistance from my people because they're like, well, I can work, or I can help, or I can be available later on in the night or on the weekends. But I say, hey, here's when I'm available. Let's fit it in. I make it work for them, but also it was a little bit of a transition at first when people weren't aware of that I'm just available whenever. I'm not anymore. And I know there's definitely some other coworkers of mine who might not get it, because there can be a lot of business done. There can be a lot of great done after, or around the hours, not between 8:30 and 4:30, but it allows me to have that peace and joy, and allows me to be here long-term and not get burnt out and not get so sick of it, or not feel like I need to numb myself or get really stressed out.
So let's move into sort of your, I guess I was gonna say your new mission, but I think that mission was always there. I mean, you grew up in church, you're going to church, and so it wasn't a new thing. And as I said, to say, you sort of got pulled away and pulled back in. Is that kind of how it went for you?
Oh yeah. So I got raised in a great faith-based home. Went to college, ended up really drifting, having a lot of fun, found Cutco. So that was really a lot of fun trips and partying and hanging out. And so it ended up being a 1 foot in the world, 1 foot out for about a decade in my 20s. And I met this girl. She was a non-Jesus person. I'm trying to be a strong Jesus person. And I was living with 3 non-Christian roommates at the time. So that was a recipe for a disaster. We were getting wild and having a good time. And I never thought I'd have a girlfriend move in, but she moved in with us. Moved in, my non-Christian girlfriend and 3 non-Christian roommates. Talk about a struggle and a pull of 2 forces of wanting to live in the instant pleasure and the fun with them versus who I'm trying to become. And so it got real serious. I asked her to marry me. We were engaged. And as it got closer and closer to the wedding, I realized this is not going to work. I'm pretending to be someone for her. She's pretending to be someone for me. If I look at our actual paths, they're actually very different trajectories. This can't work. And I didn't think it wasn't going to work 100%, but I definitely had the mentality of I'd rather delay a wedding than call off a marriage. And if we get married now, it's not going to work out well. And so I called it off a couple months before. lost all the deposits, everything. I felt so embarrassed, and it was bad. So then I went in a spout of depression and doubt and that a little bit for a few months. Was getting high every day, just medicating my sorrows essentially, and going, what's next? I thought I was going to get married, and now this isn't going to happen. But that season, that November of 2012, when I right after I called off the engagement, like, she showed her true colors, and we basically fully split up. My roommates all moved out, and I ended up living with a guy from church for like 6 months. And it was a time of restoration for me. And I dove back into the church. I read a book by Hal Elrod called The Miracle Morning. That was really great. And then I also went to a Tony Robbins event. So like all these things just happened all in this fall of 2012. And then ever since then, it's been a focus. And then going into my 30s of, hey, here's who I want to be, here's who I want to become, and the practices and the disciplines and all that really have helped me get on this, change my trajectory back on course to the mission I wanted. And so that's been, that was a big moment, I'd say, in the fall of 2012. Yeah.
So it sounds like it. Yeah, no.
Mm-hmm.
Really does. Okay. So then you went from that and talk about the transition of launching Wake Up Jesus People.
Yep. So then it was about a decade.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, totally. So then after that, it was about a decade of practicing morning routines, practicing making church and God a priority, and being in the Bible and praying and all that. And so it was really great. And it was a decade of that where I'm like, this is so great. I love this so much. And I just saw a lot of friends or new Jesus people, or even people that have claimed to be a Jesus person their whole life, but weren't really disciplined or weren't really practicing. Like, you couldn't tell that they were a Jesus person. I think that's a struggle a lot of people have, is they might believe, but they don't practice. And there may be the Sunday Christians that aren't really practicing or being what we're meant to be as Jesus with skin on, essentially. And so practicing that, growing in my faith, growing deeper, growing more courageous, be more confident in sharing what I'm doing, what I'm all about. I had this just tension in my heart that was like, you're doing this and you share this stuff with people, but why don't you write a book about it? And so I wrestled with it for a year or two. And then I spent a couple years just gathering information and doing devotionals and Bible studies on these different topics. And then spent a year or two of gathering this information. And then in January of 2024 is when I started writing the book. However, prior to that, I had been, I started leading a men's discipleship group at church called Wake Up Jesus People, or it was Jesus Guys. And so it was great, seeing so much fruit from that, and 10 to 15 guys going through on an 8-week discipleship group, and them being challenged at the end with this 40-day challenge, and them seeing growth and realizing, wow, this is so much more fulfilling than just saying I'm a Christian, but not actually practicing it or not actually living it out. And I'm like, all right, God, I guess it's time to write this thing. So I spent every morning about 30 minutes a day for pretty much 6 or 7 months, just writing it. And then there were a few months of editing it. And then, from that, I wasn't even intending to launch the 40 Forge Challenge or the journal, just kind of came with it. And the book hasn't, as of this recording, it hasn't even officially launched yet. It's all set to go. It's just, I don't feel it's right timing. There's some other things I want to do before it's actually launched, but the journal's been out for 5 months. The 40 Forge Challenge has been out for about 6 months. It's been really cool to see God work with that. And now it's a really fun passion. I don't know what's going to happen. I believe it's amazing. I believe it's going to change a ton of lives, but I don't know. It's kind of, again, with me transitioning from me trying to control it and me wanting to be, Jason and get recognized and all that. It's like, all right, God, here it is. Use it how you want. It's so freeing to be in that headspace. So that's a transition to where we're at now.
The idea of having no idea, like, the idea of no idea where it's going to end up or go it's
Yeah, I don't know.
exciting. I can see where it can be very exciting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and even when so even if, one of the themes of this podcast is sort of taking that first step. And
Yep.
there's a quote from Martin Luther King where it talks about really essentially taking that first step when you can't see the entire staircase, but you take it anyways, right? It's
Yep.
taking that bold, that
Yeah.
bold leap of courage that's
Yep.
required. So I would imagine, that there's a certain level of courage that you've needed to do the work that
Yep.
you've done and to demonstrate that boldness. What was done? How did you build yourself up to be able to say,
Yeah.
okay, this is
Yeah.
where I'm going?
Yeah. First of all, I think we have to realize that faith and fear are the same.
Okay.
We're believing in a future result that we don't know that's going to happen. So if you're fearful, just use that, use that anxiety, use that energy, use that mental pressure to also, you could change it to belief. And so you have faith that you could do well. You have faith that things could work out. And who cares if it doesn't work out? Like, okay, we'll move on. It's all a learning opportunity. I actually wrote a book before this one and it wasn't great. I mean, I thought it was great, but when I look back, it wasn't great. Now, and also, not a lot of people bought it and all that, but it was a great learning experience and it set me up for this book now 6 years later. And I didn't know that. And so if we wait till, all lights in town are green before we go, we'll never make it through. So I think to your audience, you need to give it a shot. You don't listen to the haters. Don't listen to all the doubts. They're all going to be there, right? And then if you are a Jesus person, there's countless examples. Well, you can count them, but there's tons of examples in the Bible of like people like David and Goliath. Like that's life or death, right? People crossing Moses and crossing the sea and all the challenges, all the battles, all the things. Like if they can do that, how can I not start writing a book? How can I not start that business? How can I not ask that person out? This is not life or death. Okay. And so obviously I feel I get the extra bonus having, the faith in Jesus to help us through and knowing like, hey, if it's not meant to be, it's a closed door because he has bigger and better plans. But for anyone, whether they're, Christian or not, that, hey, you had nothing to lose. Just get after it, because the worst thing is when you get to the end of your life, you have all these regrets and you didn't try it. Just try it. Because what if, and what if it would have worked out? What if you would have loved it? What if it would have changed the trajectory of your life? You never know. So my challenge is, live boldly, live courageously, live audaciously, because this is a fun life and it's what you make of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. There is another aspect that I'd love you to touch on with respects to this, or overcoming the noise of the world, right? Like that is a challenge, and when we sort of talk about things that hold people back, it's the noise around you, or it's how maybe you be viewed, or how you might be judged, or people go, oh, you're one of those Bible thumping church people, and like we have no time. Like, there's a lot of that goes on, and there are those that can withstand that and still forge through, and others that they're maybe a bit shy or a bit reserved or don't want to be judged. And so that's real for a lot of people.
Yep. Yeah. My recommendation that I've learned is that be aware of who you're taking advice from.
Okay.
So if I'm getting hated on by a bunch of unhealthy people on the diet I'm on or the workout plan, well, do you want their life? Do you want their results? And so one way to clear out some of the noise is look at their happiness, their joy, their success, whatever area of life that you're pursuing that you're worried about, or you want to be courageous about, and you're worried about some of the naysayers, take a look at them. And some of the family members are the worst, right? And so it's like, even though you love them, it's like, well, if you're trying to start a business, have any of them started a business? Are any of them successful?
Right.
Are any of them well off, right? So okay, well, why don't you actually talk to some people that have actually started a business and failed, or started a business and succeeded, because they'll give you the real advice. And usually those people are your champions, and they're like, let's go. And so for me, I just have to remember that most people in life, they don't want to get uncomfortable. Most people in life want to live their mediocre life and just go through with comfort and try to get rich quick, or think it's just going to happen to them. It's just going to be a magic. They're going to win the lottery or something's just going to happen. But those are the people that try to drag you down, and they're not living the life that you are choosing to or pursuing. And we're in a different lane. Okay. We are the unique individuals who are going upstream when everyone else is just floating downstream. And so it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. And while everyone's sitting back, kicking back, going down, probably with a beer in their hand, hanging out down the lazy river, and you're going upstream and you're swimming, they're like, what's he doing? Because them seeing you makes them get uncomfortable, because they're like, well, if he's doing it, I could do it. Why am I not doing it? I'm lazy. I have excuses. I can't do it. I'm too fearful. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to drag them back, because that's easier for me to try to get you in my lane in the mediocre majority lazy river, as opposed to swimming upstream to do something great. So, you know, you can still love them, but you can disagree with them. You can still love them. You don't have to be mean. You don't have to reject them. Don't take it personally. It's just part of society. And surround yourself with the people who will be champions, people who have done it before, people who are believing in you and a brighter future, because it's amazing when you have those people pointing to you versus looking at some negative comments on social media or your broke loser friend who's giving you a hard time.
Got you. No, it makes sense. It makes sense. You referenced it a couple of times. Let's dive into the 40 Forge challenge and how it's helping people grow and develop and get better.
Oh yeah. So 40 Forge, if you've heard of 75 Hard before, basically I've stolen a bunch of great ideas and made them a Jesus version of it, essentially.
Okay.
Is what I've done. And 75 Hard, if you don't know about the challenge, it's a mentality and fitness and personal growth challenge.
Okay.
And it's a 75-day challenge by Andy Frisella, and it blew up. 1 million people gone through it, all of that. And I had been at the end of my discipleship group with these guys at the end, giving them a 40-day, I call it a faith fast. I thought it sounded cool, but it was a 40-day challenge. And it was really to get the habits going, get things started, get that streak going of days in a row, these good habits. Yeah. And that way it would just become a part of their identity. So the goal of 40 Forge is you do it once and it just becomes a part of your life and your identity. But I have a soft version, a light version, and a hard version. And also the reason why it's 40 days is 40 is biblical. You know, you think about a few examples here. Moses at Mount Sinai, he was up there for 40 days before receiving the 10 Commandments. Israel was wandering around in the desert, in the wilderness for 40 years before going to the promised land. The flood of Genesis was 40 days and 40 nights. After Jesus was baptized, he was tempted in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights. Goliath's taunt before David came in and whooped him up was 40 days. And then Jesus, after being resurrected, was on earth for 40 days before he ascended. So every time of 40 in the Bible marks a time of testing, preparation, or transition where God prepared his people for a new stage of his plan. And so 40 days is why that number is there. And the challenge, there's basically involves, I'll go through the hard version.
Okay.
And then your audience can know there is a softer version, a lighter version of this, but it's pretty intense. So 40 Forge hard version is a combo of just disciplines to challenge yourself in. And it is listening to worship music only. Okay. It's drinking a gallon of water daily. It's having a 90-minute sacred start. So it's a morning start, and I can go more into that, but it's a 90-minute sacred start to get your day started, getting yourself right, getting connected with Jesus, all that. It's journaling daily, praying daily, reading 10 pages of the Bible daily, at least 40 minutes of exercise daily, no social media, no alcohol, no substances, no porn, and then a diet, a Daniel fast diet plus protein, which basically it's like no fast food, no sugar, no processed stuff, all that. So that's the hard version. And the goal is like wake you up, get you going,
right,
cleanse maybe some of the bad habits, some of the things holding you back, and help you, upgrade in some of your other daily habits.
Yeah, I can see where, this is looking at, physically, certainly spiritually, and then mentally as well. We're sort of
Yeah.
addressing
Yep.
all of those, and
Yeah.
very strategically done. I do like that.
Yeah.
And what kind of feedback you're getting, or what are you hearing from the challenge?
Yeah, awesome. It's transformative for people. Now, again, just like any challenge, it's only about half the people actually finish the full 40 days,
Right.
just like any diet or workout plan. But yeah, people that do it, it's like I've had people say that I thought I was a Jesus person, but now I'm actually making it a priority. I'm actually starting my day with Jesus instead of quick scrolling on a lunch break to do a quick Devo. I'm actually starting my day off with prayer. I'm actually starting my day off with energy and exercise instead of make an excuse every day of not doing it. I didn't realize that I had, porn or alcohol or substances had such a hold on me, or social media did. So and even journaling. A lot of people they don't journal, and this is not the long form like diary 7th grade girl talking about her love life. It is prompted journal prompts here to help you get right and get centered, and also have gratitude and reflect on the previous day. And so and also have intentions for this day. There's so much fruit that have come from the people that have finished it. It's been so cool to see. And there's a bunch of testimonials in that on my Instagram.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. What's the significance of the waking up? I think there's some power in that, because it really suggests and says, hey, look, we're here maybe physically, but we're not present. And so there's a need to wake up. I'm going to expand on that a bit.
Yeah. So let's think about most people. Most people are hitting snooze 4 or 5 times. They're like, it's like torture, right? We don't like waking up. We're tired every time when the alarm goes off. But let's actually have that same feeling like 3 or 4 more times throughout the morning, and then make us stressed and rushed to get to work. Most people wake up because they have to, not because they want to. So then they're stressed, they're rushed, they're out the door, they're full of anxiety, and they're getting the kids to school and going to work, and just not a great start to the day. You're all frazzled. But think about a day that you can start with a sunrise, can start with oxygen and deep breaths, and hydrating with water, getting a workout in, whether it's a 40-minute walk, maybe it's a 20-minute Pilates workout, maybe it's a full out, hour like lift session, but getting the body moving. God designed us to move. Think back in the day, there was no TV, there was no couches, there was no just lounging around. You walked everywhere, you made everything. People were healthy, people were energized. They were getting, oxygen, sunlight, feet on the ground. So just feeling energized, and then also starting the day off right. Obviously, spiritual is a huge part of this, but getting connected with God, getting in the Word, praying, feeling centered, feeling like He's got you, because life can suck. It can be stressful. It can be really challenging when you start your day with, I got this. God's got me. I read some Bible verses. I got some scripture that was affirming to me. All of this is like, gosh, what a start to your day. And then the start to your day paves the way for the rest of your day. So allowing yourself to do this now for 30 minutes or an hour, 90 minutes to start your day, you are going into every interaction better, giving people the best of you instead of the rest of you, giving your spouse and your kids and your coworkers the best of you, as opposed to the stressed, frantic, frazzled version of you.
Right. I love it. I think it's great, and I think that's a good way, the way you frame that, like the best versus the rest. And I think many can be honest and put their hand up and go, I know about that. And so that's very cool. You showed us a book there. Let's see that book again one more time so people know what. Wake Up.
So this is the journal.
Yep.
And then there's the prompts. There's the prompts in there and everything. Okay. And then the book will be coming out, I don't know, whenever God wants it to, but probably the next 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
So the 40 Forge Challenge is live now. I do that every 2 months. We're in the, based on when this releases, you can just join on the next one at 40forge.com and check it out. The journal is out now. Just go to Amazon. It's on there. And the book will be released here, hopefully in the next 2 or 3 months. We'll see. But that's where you can find out more and where that is.
Very, very, very cool, Jason. Man, I love the mission, and but more importantly, the sort of personal journey you've taken to get where you're at, and I can
Mhm.
certainly see where having gone through that journey can feed your work. And you know and strengthen your resolve, if you will. And so certainly congratulations for that. Congratulations on the work with Wake Up Jesus People, and for the
Mhm.
44 challenge as well. And yeah, I really appreciate you doing this, and thank you for being a guest on the Audacious Living podcast.
My pleasure.
Back, we are here on the podcast, and much thanks and appreciation goes out to Jason for being here. During our chat, one of the standout themes was the transformative power of prioritizing faith and setting boundaries. He eloquently shared how his childhood experiences marked by the need for validation and achievement influenced his ambitions. Yet it was the pivotal moment of recognizing the emptiness of this pursuit that sparked his journey towards a more fulfilling life rooted in faith. Jason's story reminds us that it's not just about achieving accolades, it's about nurturing our spirit, building meaningful relationships, and setting boundaries that honor our true selves. I got to tell you, what I personally loved about, this chat with Jason was his authenticity. It's shown through and his commitment to helping others navigate their own journeys with grace and courage. I want to encourage you to connect with Jason directly through his social media channels as well as his website, which of course you can find in the show notes. Whether you're looking for inspiration about his writing or insights from his own experiences, Jason absolutely is here to support you on your journey. So be sure to check out his latest offering, including his insightful journal, the 40-day challenge. It's designed to help you deepen your faith and establish meaningful habits in your life. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for joining us on this episode of the Audacious Living Podcast. If you found value in today's conversation, I'd encourage you to like, follow, subscribe, share. If you haven't already done so with your own personal network, and that's really what helps this podcast grow and reach even more listeners. Together, we can inspire others to live boldly and audaciously. Until next time, keep pursuing your best life. Stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.
You've been listening to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by Audley Stephenson. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, be audacious.